never stop reading Bible. Today's deep dive focuses on Psalms 41 through 45.
That's right. We've got some notes here, some excerpts really digging into these specific Psalms.
And our goal is to, unpack the key insights from this material just for you.
Definitely. These Psalms, they really take us through some deep human experiences.
Yeah, like suffering, crying out to God, that search for hope.
And finding ultimately a vision that kind of transcends the immediate pain. It's quite a range.
So let's start with Psalm 41. The notes identify this one. It sounds like a tough situation.
It really does. Often seen as David dealing with sickness, but also enemies mocking him.
And even friends turning against him.
Yeah.
Wow. Despite him apparently being responsible, like caring for the poor.
Exactly. It paints this picture of vulnerability, physical pain, social isolation, feeling totally let down.
So the core is this plea, this cry out to God for help, for restoration.
Mm-hmm. A really earnest plea for mercy. But the notes also highlight something important near the end, verses 10-13.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Well, there's a shift. Even amidst the suffering, the psalmist moves from just lamenting
To something else.
to this confident assertion that God will step in, that God will deliver him, uphold his integrity.
Okay. So it moves from presenting the problem to really asserting faith in God's future action.
You got it. It's a powerful move from pain to, defiant hope. Pretty striking.
Okay, so that's the individual struggle. Now, the sources link Psalms 42 and 43 together.
Yeah, they do. They mention shared themes, and there's this repeated line, a refrain.
What's at the core feeling in these two?
Intense longing for God's presence. You know the famous line, like a deer panting for water.
Oh.
That kind of thirst.
Right, I know that one. But the pain isn't just internal?
No, it's worse because the psalmist feels cut off from worship from the community.
Yeah.
And people are taunting him.
The whole "where's your God" line. It must sting.
Absolutely adds agony to the absence.
Yeah.
And a really key insight from the material is this internal dialogue happening.
He's talking to himself.
Yeah, pretty much. Admonishing his own soul, telling himself to hope in God, even when he feels completely downcast.
Like actively choosing hope over despair.
Exactly. That line appears in 42.5 and again in 43.5. It's like he's preaching to himself.
And in Psalm 43, that longing becomes a specific prayer, right? To be led back.
Yes, led by God's light and truth, back to his dwelling, back to worship. And there's a vow of genuine thanksgiving if God answers.
So we've seen individual pain, betrayal, deep longing. Then Psalm 44 seems to shift gears. The notes say it's a communal lament.
Yeah, this one isn't just one person. It's the whole community speaking, apparently facing some big disaster or defeat.
How does it start?
It actually starts by remembering God's past help, recalling the great things God did for their ancestors, grounding themselves in that history.
Okay, starting with faith. But then
Then comes the contrast.
Yeah.
The complaint. It feels like God is unfavorable now, like God has rejected them. Verses 9-16 really lay that out.
even though they feel they've kept their side of the bargain.
That's the crucial point the material highlights. They insist, verses 17-22, that they haven't forgotten God or broken the covenant.
But they're still suffering.
Yes, and they frame it as suffering because of their faithfulness, specifically for worshiping God purely. Unjust persecution.
Wow, suffering for faithfulness, not just despite it. How does it end?
With this really poignant plea in verse 26, basically, God, wake up, don't forget us in this unjust oppression. It's raw.
A stark picture. Okay, so from all that, Song 45 feels like a totally different direction. A royal wedding song.
On the surface, yeah, attributed to the sons of Korah. But the notes immediately push towards a deeper interpretation.
Which is?
That it ultimately points to the Messiah Jesus Christ to the church as his bride.
So not just any king's wedding.
Not primarily according to this view. The descriptions of the king in verses 2-7, his beauty, grace, power, righteous rule, they're seen as fitting the Messiah more perfectly than any earthly king.
Okay, I see. And what about the advice to the bride?
That's interpreted as counsel for the church. Verse 10 tells her to forget her former home, her people. Meaning, like full devotion to this divine king, letting go of past allegiances to find deeper love and favor with him.
And there's a New Testament connection mentioned.
Yes, a really important one. The notes stress that Hebrews 1.8-9 quotes verses 6-7 of this psalm directly.
To show what?
To show Christ's divine nature and superiority over angels. It strongly backs up seeing this psalm as messianic.
That really ties it together. The source material for this deep dive was provided by the Center Studio.